Good morning, everyone. It is 9:30 Central European Time, and so we will begin our symposium, our second UUP and EAP symposium. May I just make a comment about translation at the very start? There is simultaneous translation from English into Ukraine and from Ukrainian into English from now. Please look for the interpretation button at the bottom of your screen and choose the language that you wish to hear the symposium in. And simultaneous translation will continue throughout this morning, all the way through the presentations. I am really honoured, as the former president of the European Association for Psychotherapy, to open this symposium this morning. More than 1,400 people have registered for today's symposium. I noticed that nothing like that number have yet joined us, and I hope this isn't to do with electricity or internet difficulties in Ukraine. I think more and more colleagues will join us during the course of the morning. It's extraordinary to have so many people join us, and people are coming from Ukraine and also from other parts of Europe, from the UK, from Lithuania, from Poland, from the Czech Republic, and from countries in the EU countries and also non-EU European countries, from the USA, from Canada, and from Australia. Welcome to everyone to our symposium. The Ukrainian Umbrella Association of Psychotherapy and the European Association for Psychotherapy are delighted and honoured to hold this second symposium. And we have a really important and significant announcement to make just at the very start of our day. We have received official patronage from the President of the Czech Republic, President Petr Pavel. Here is the certificate on our screen. Thank you, Martinas, for everything that you're doing. Here is the certificate on our screen showing us that we received and signed the certificate from President Pavel, supporting and giving his official patronage to our symposium. This is a really extraordinary and wonderful act of support for Ukraine and support for the profession of psychotherapy and the work that psychotherapists are doing. If we could have the next screen, please, Martinas. And so President Petr Pavel of the Czech Republic says that he has decided, in view of the importance that he attaches to the topic, to give official patronage to the second joint UUP and EAP symposium, New Challenges for Psychotherapists. This really is the most extraordinary honour, and we are profoundly grateful to President Petr Pavel. And we also give our sincere thanks to our colleague Jirka Drahota from the Czech Republic. He has met with senior officials in the Czech Republic, and this certificate of patronage has come as a result of the meetings which Jirka was involved in, a way in which a psychotherapist and psychotherapy can be part of a central element of life in the Czech Republic at the moment, life within society. Jirka also says that he wishes to add the comment that President Pavel, as the former chairman of the NATO Military Committee, has been supporting Ukraine in its fight for freedom since the beginning of the invasion, and that is why he became patron of this conference as well. Jirka feels proud to have a president of such stature and proud that his people have elected such a president. And we congratulate the whole team of colleagues from UUP and EAP, also our technical and media team, also our translator, who have made this symposium possible today, who are organising this symposium. It is indeed a great honour and a privilege for us to receive President Petr Pavel's official patronage. Last autumn, myself and senior colleagues from the European Association for Psychotherapy began to meet regularly online with senior colleagues from the Ukrainian Umbrella Association for Psychotherapy. We offered these meetings as a space, hoping to give support to Ukrainian colleagues during this terrible time of war. When we asked the question, what can we give you support with? They answered, we wish to hold a series of symposiums on a range of topics for Ukrainian psychotherapists and for European psychotherapists. And we wish through these symposiums to be able to talk with and be connected with our European colleagues during this time of crisis. They asked us, please will EAP be partners in this to make it possible for us to hold these joint symposiums. And so our work began, and so our symposiums began. And our meetings have an extraordinary and very rich and wonderful quality. And we hope that this comes through in the symposiums. And we are very, very pleased at the numbers of people that the symposiums have attracted to come to be part of the symposium. I honour all our Ukrainian colleagues for the visionary way in which you look to the present of Ukraine and to the future of Ukraine. You prepare for the time that will come. You work to respond to the situation now. You have a vision for your country in the future. And I've noticed in all of our meetings a positive sense that you have of how to not be overwhelmed by what is happening in your country at the moment. But now, within the last few weeks, another terrible disaster has happened, the destruction of the Kakhovskaya hydroelectric power station in the Kherson region of Ukraine. It has been completely devastating. It's a huge tragedy. Hundreds of thousands of people have died or been affected. More than 80 settlements are underwater. It's also an ecocide. It's an attack on ecology and on the ecosystems. Thousands of animals and countless forms of wildlife have been killed. Ecosystems have been destroyed. Migration paths have been obliterated. It's a terrible humanitarian, environmental, and economic disaster. This and so many other terrible acts of evil are the context for our symposium today. They are the setting within which we hold our symposium. We are going to focus our minds, our wisdom, our hearts, and our professionalism on the new challenges that psychotherapists face when they conduct therapeutic work within the context of so much tragedy, within the context of so much devastation. The image, the visual image of the destroyed dam at Kakhovskaya is a haunting one for us as professionals. How can we conduct our work when so much around us is being destroyed? We aim in our profession to offer containment. We aim to offer holding. We aim to offer healing. But this becomes so hard to do when everything around us is uncontained and is not being held, is being destroyed. As psychotherapists, it is our first task to understand the psychic situation of our time and to see clearly the problems and challenges with which it faces us. During times of war, this means that psychotherapy is struggling with the traumatization that the war causes, is working through multiple and complex grief and mourning, and the impact of damaged hopes and dreams. So this is what our symposium is going to focus on today. How can we face all these challenges and continue our work? Our speakers today will speak from their hearts, from their experience, from their wisdom, from their research, to lead us into greater understanding of how it is possible to continue work with so much devastation all around us. I spoke at the annual conference, the national conference in Ukraine, about a fortnight ago, and I talked about kintsugi. It's the Japanese art of mending pottery. It's a Japanese art. And someone told me that it really resonated and hit a positive note. And so I'm just going to talk about kintsugi again as the final part of my opening address this morning. And I talk about it because it was one of my own patients who introduced me actually to the idea of kintsugi, a profoundly traumatized woman who had been severely damaged in her early life and was like a broken vase, broken into pieces throughout her 20s and 30s and 40s, and only came into psychotherapy at the end of her 40s. Kintsugi is the Japanese art of mending a piece of porcelain. When a vase breaks, it breaks into so many pieces. And the Japanese art is first to gather all of those pieces together, even the small pieces, even the fragments, and begin to build them back together. Each piece is stuck back in to begin to form the vase. But it's not just formed as it was. The Japanese art is to beautify it, to make it even more beautiful than it was before, by painting the places where the cracks were with liquid gold and fragments of gold, so that by the time the vase is completed, it is even more beautiful than it was before it broke. And it is made beautiful by the gold which makes the break points the really beautiful network on the surface of the vase. And so this is a metaphor. As my patient began to heal, through the process of psychotherapy, she said, "It feels like kintsugi. I feel as though the fragments that have been there for decades are coming back together. And as they come back together, I'm stronger than I was before. I can see that I'm in a much better place." So kintsugi is a metaphor for psychotherapy, and our hope is that we can continue this important work even when there is devastation around us. We can hold the space and hold the therapeutic process which enables kintsugi, which enables healing to happen. And it's also a metaphor for the country of Ukraine and for you, our Ukrainian colleagues within your country, that you too may be held and able to be healed, that your country may be held and be able to be healed. And it is our sincere hope that this symposium today is part of that process. Through the symposium, through the magic of online connections, we connect in with you today from all parts of Europe. We bring to you speakers who will have important words to say. And we hope that today becomes part of the way in which you Ukrainians can be held in your work and in yourselves and in your country during this terrible time of war. You are not alone. We are with you. And in our symposium today, we really are with you. So that is what I wanted to say at the start of the day. And now I would like to hand over to my colleague, Professor Alexander Filts, who is the president of the Ukrainian Umbrella Association of Psychotherapy, for his own opening words to you this morning. Good morning, Alexander.
So good morning to all of you, and let me speak in Ukrainian. Тому я буду просити всіх відповідно переключити.
Please switch channels. I'm going to speak Ukrainian.
I will speak in Ukrainian. Отже, ще раз доброго дня всім, і я дуже радий.
So hello again, everybody, and I'm extremely happy that we were able to conduct our second symposium today. We hope that it will become a tradition and it will be able to give us more and more space and possibilities for our professional and not only professional growth and development. Let me also start from gratitude. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to Patricia for this amazing introductory word. Patricia mentioned a lot about our colleagues, about the President of Czech Republic, Peter Pavel, who personally found time to greet us, to support us, but also I would like to express my gratitude to our colleague Volodymyr Pogorely, who is now in Czech Republic, and he was the initiator of this second conference, and there were lots of talks conducted, and he helped all of us to conduct this second conference. So basically, he was the initiator of this second discussion. Also, I would like to express gratitude to the whole team, Ukrainian team, who was also, let's say, founder and inspiration of these conferences. It is a group of our special colleagues, which is headed by Anastasia Skleruk, and she is continuing working in this field, in this area of common conferences. She's heading our group. So also Very active participants of these groups are Stupak Olena, Roman Kachur, Alexander Mironenko, Larissa Didkovska. Two last mentioned people will have speeches today, and also Andriy Mordorich. He cannot always be with us due to circumstances because he's on the border of hostilities, but we also have Volodymyr Karikash with us. He's going to have a speech, and before mentioned at the beginning, Volodymyr Pogorely. We also have to mention that our colleagues from EAP made everything possible, so we have this great opportunity to spread ideas to our European colleagues and have this fruitful discussion. I will still say several words about that. And Patricia has up till recently was heading the association, but also our current acting director was Thomas Warneke was very actively participating. Also, Evgenius Laurinaitis was very actively engaged in the organization. And it's his, let's say, second, it's his left hand. And Martynas Vitkus also helped a lot. We managed to meet today due to him. And we are also very much supported by current president of EAP, our colleague from Croatia, is Irana. But as far as I understand, we do not, she will not have, she did not have the possibility to address today, but I hope that she will be active participant in next symposiums. I am grateful to Patricia because Patricia has mentioned a lot about our background, about history. I just would like to add that our conferences really give life to beautiful metaphors and ideas, and one of them was this idea that we were discussing at our yearly conference and discussions. Among others, this is the idea that has already been in different societies of psychotherapy. It is actually well-known idea, but at the same time, it's new idea, this idea of creation safe and secure transitional space, which we have during our meetings, because without that, the laboratory of our professional thinking probably would be impossible. That is also, it is happening regardless of us and our possibilities to conceptualize something. But our colleagues, our patients also emphasize on that. They are actually literally saying during the meeting that this possibility to be together and to discuss and to have this feeling of common being is this specific transitional space where you can find not only, let's say, rest in inverted commas from adversities of our nowadays, but also get some more energy and resources. So once again, we are meeting in this professional, safe space where you can share where we all can share our opinions. And I would like to say a few more words about my vision of what is going on, because it is an important element of our meetings and our discussions. So we can think that we are living in such time, very important time, as but very many right words and kind words were said by Patricia. So I'm not going to repeat that. I would just only add that we have such an impression that our nowadays world, current world, is the world of struggle, of fight over dominance, not in economic sphere of our being, and not even in technological sphere of our being, which seems to be on the facade of everything that's going on. We can think that the biggest fight, the strongest fight, the most ferocious fight in our nowadays world is fight over dominance in setting principles and rights of existence of future world. So in those attempts to create a certain system system of such a vision of this world, when dominant force in this world can give such kind of cover of principles and rights to this world, which later be used in the sphere of economy, technology, and everything else. And when we are talking about principles and rights of existence, we first of all have to understand that something is principles, its values and senses, and what is rights. Rights, these are certain ways and forms of coexistence of the people between each other. And we even can say that it's civilization and future as it is. So technology and economy are just tools of implementation of all these principles and rights. We can provide lots of examples, as Ms. Hunt, for example, has mentioned about this Japanese art. And here I just would like to have one small regression out of it. What I was really impressed by is that in China, they are now conducting experiments when they are trying to create new system of education in accordance to challenges of time, and children in schools will be dressed in specific suits, and there are chips implemented in those suits, and they control the activity during classes, and their active time in this education process. So technology is becoming really important tool of control over principles and rights of society. And as soon as we start talking about principles and rights of coexistence, then we start understanding why is it so important to have psychotherapy in our nowadays world, because psychotherapy, maybe not all of us, but we still do remember that psychotherapy has been named a new science about humans, and it was first EAP monography that was published yet in 1998, and but initiated still in 1996. So basically the first years of existence of EAP. It was extremely interesting and useful monography where they mentioned the main approaches concerning how we need to understand psychotherapy, that it's not only technology of health, but it's also a special way of visioning and of seeing human problems and human as such, basically separate type of specific anthropology. And I am saying that because we psychotherapists have recently become kind of changed from the microscope that before was the tool that we used for seeing the smallest details of internal mental world to help people in their certain problems, in certain difficulties in communication and common being. And suddenly we were transformed into telescopy. We became such a society of specialists who mirror this all those public processes, and they all gather to one phenomenon, coexisting, co-being. And we know that the main subject we're talking about is spirit of people, of person in its coexistence with other spirits. So that's why it seems to me that other common opinions are extremely important for us to understand which world we are living in and what are the prospects we are waiting for. I would like to say once again that we are becoming a telescopy of social processes, and it seems to me that these symposiums that we have created together with our colleagues from EAP is this great safe space where we can use this telescopy and where we can look through this telescope at the whole panorama that is happening around us. Unfortunately, the story is such that we Ukrainians are have been forced to become such a place which has this telescopy on its territory, and we are trying to turn it to different sides to see what's going on. And that's why we want to share our experience, which is a unique experience that has never been present before in the previous history. So that's why our knowledge is not full, is not finalized. We are still in the process of specific self-knowledge, and these are new challenges for psychotherapy. That's why I welcome everybody to join discussion. I'm very happy that we have today this possibility to be together, to listen to the speeches of our main speakers, to talk during the roundtable discussion, and I'm giving the floor to our organizers. Again, welcome everybody, and my sincerest gratitude for the possibility of organization of this conference and this symposium. And I would like to say that it is not the last time we meet each other. We will have future meetings, so our telescopy can become more powerful and be able to see more. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you so much, Alexander, for your opening words. That was perfect. And I think also our two opening addresses are very complementary to each other. And this is a good reflection of the way in which we work together in our meetings. There is a very complementary spirit with strengths coming from both sides. Thank you so much.